Hey campers, George here. Chilly evening in the man cave. As you saw in that slide I had up there, the weather is changing. It's starting to get really chilly out there. That reminded me it was time for me to update my EDC bag I keep in my truck at all times. In summer, it's a pretty basic bag. It has your typical things like I would have in a walkabout bag. But in winter in Minnesota, that's a different story. And in fact, coming back the other day from work, the snow was really bad. We had about 8 inches of snow in a day, just right away, right after we'd had a fairly warm week. All of a sudden, it was cold, snowing, the wind was blowing, and it was miserable driving home, and it got me really think about what I have in my truck. So I thought this is a good opportunity for me to show you what I carry in my truck in winter in Minnesota. It's not perfect, but it has just about everything I'll need, I hope. What I have in my bag, and fortunately for me, the company that I work for has a really big safety program. They're really big on safety. They have a lot of incentive-based programs for us. Every quarter, we're required to do a couple of tasks. Depending on the number of tasks you complete and get right, you can choose a prize. And typically the prize is some sort of safety thing that is handy for you to have with you. Not for work, but for your general everyday life. Fortunately, I get a lot of my everyday carry stuff for my truck from work doing those safety programs. Unfortunately, I can't show you the company labels, and a lot of the products do have the label on there, so please excuse the blurring out or the blanking out of the names. I did speak to the company and they did ask that I do that if I'm going to make a video. But I wanted you to know it does come from the company, a lot of the stuff, the bags, and a lot of the things that I have in there. And grateful to the company that I have access to that stuff. I have it piled up all in front of me here. Right there. So first off, I have a carry bag, and this is it here. You can see it here, and it's just a basic backpack, small, compact, but it has a lot of room in it, so I can put a lot of things in it. And this I got from the safety program. It has side pouches on it. You can see them there. It has your normal straps and everything, adjustable, that sort of thing. It does have a main compartment, just a big all-in-one main compartment with 2 small slide pouches in it here. And then it's a huge opening. And then on top of that here, on the outside, you have your front pouch. And it has the usual slots and everything where you can keep a phone, things like that. It's a typical backpack with a zipper pouch here where you can keep stuff in. And then on the front here, it has another smaller pouch you can see in there. So, nice little bag, and of course the price was right. And it sits just in the back of my truck, on the back seat in the truck all the time. It never comes out. Once it goes in, it's in. As I empty the water bottle and just refresh the water that I have, and snacks and things, I just refresh them. Let's see what goes into this here bag. So you can see I have it all piled up, and basically I have a couple of bags, change of clothes. First of all, gloves. They're not top quality. I originally got them for ice fishing, but being out on the ice all the time for a long period, for a couple of hours and that, just in the wind and everything, my hands got cold in them. But for my truck, these will certainly help. You want something to keep your hands warm. I have a change of socks. You don't want to get your feet wet when it's really cold. That's just, in fact, you just don't want to get wet at all. Wind chill factors and things like that, you'll be in trouble before you know it. I do have a knitted cap. It is a big one. You see how bright it is? So it'll stand out. If something happens, the truck breaks down or something like that on the road at night, I'm going to be wearing this. It's going to stand out. So if a car's coming down or something, they're going to see me. And then I have a long-sleeved, just t-shirt style, a little bit thicker than usual. I have a thin t-shirt style, long sleeve. A pair of denims. Denims are not the best. I've lost a lot of weight in the past couple of years since my surgery. These just are a little bit too big for me. And should I need to change, I have them. But if it's dry, it'll work better than if I get wet. I have a towel. A couple of reasons. If I get wet or anything like that, I can dry myself to sit down on, to keep myself dry, that sort of thing. It's something else to wrap around me to keep me warm. I have an emergency blanket. It's one of the thicker style ones, heavy duty if I need it, but it'll be enough where I could maybe tie it onto the side of the truck and make a small shelter to get under if the weather really gets bad. It's red on the outside. Other side, it's a bright silver reflective, so people could see it on the side of the road or something like that. Of course, you can wrap it around you to keep you out of the wind and that. As far as cold in that, I'm not sure, but certainly out of breezy conditions, this is going to help big time. Another thing I have is cleats. If I'm getting into trouble and sliding off the road or something like that, there's probably a lot of ice around. So if I'm going to be trudging off to go and get help, I'm going to need these, and these will fit my boots and my shoes. And this is a survival shovel. Basically, it's a folding shovel, and it folds up, and it has a bunch of survival things in the handles and that. I'll put a link up to the review I did on it up here. But it's nice and handy to have. Always good to have a good strong shovel in your truck. For one, you can dig yourself out of the snow. So a good handy thing to have. I do have an Atomic Bear bivvy. It's this guy here, and it's basically a sleeping bag style bivouac. If things get really bad, you can get into your vehicle and slip this over into the sleeping bag, and you can just sit there and it'll keep you warm. It is nice and big, so it's not like you're tied up or anything like that. It does give you a bit of room to move around in. And of course, it's nice and small and compact, so need some more coffee. George is cheap, you don't want to turn on the heat. A water bottle. This one is just one of those regular plastic style water bottles from Outdoor Products. I think I got a couple of them from Walmart. Here I have a bag, and it's a basic first aid bag. Comes from the safety program at work, and I'll open it up here and show you what's in there. So here it is. Here you can see it has the basics for a first aid kit, how to look after yourself. It has bandages, wraps, that sort of thing, compressors, and in here one of the latest things that I got. But it has, you can see it has, tape and bandages, band-aids, that sort of thing. I will have to put a pair of scissors in there maybe, and a couple of other things, maybe some tweezers, that sort of thing, to get splinters out and things like that. Kit. Very basic, nothing special, but I will add to it. A bag from work. It is from the safety program again. Basically, this is a dry bag. It's one of those bags, that roll top dry bag, small, compact. It's really nice. It's well built, very nice. They called it a basic survival pack. I added a headlamp, a flashlight. Actually, this is the flashlight lantern. I do prefer a headlamp simply because it's more convenient. A cotton bandana here. In here I have, this came with the actual bag, and there's a box of matches, some an emergency whistle, and some Gorilla Tape, a rain poncho, and an silver emergency blanket. There's a multi-tool, and it's a very basic one. I have this one here, which is the Rover Tack, and this guy has a bunch, and it's heavy, it's sturdy, and it's pretty strong. and it's got fairly heavy duty stuff, so it'll do a lot heavier work than the small one that came with that bag. All top, you just roll them up like this and you can clip them on just like that, and you can see it's a nice little dry bag. It's actually a very nice little dry bag. And last, I have a little survival possibles pouch, if you want to call it that. Fire starters, a little bit of rope, a little folding cutter, a mini folded up blanket in there. Little possibles pouch. That's the basics of it. I do carry an EDC knife in my pocket at all times. I always check is things like, how's my spare tire doing? Do I have all the tools to change, to do very basic repair on the truck should I need to? It's a very basic toolkit that's always in my truck. Other than that, me and the truck, and hopefully nothing will go wrong. My truck is a California truck. It's a 2-wheel drive, and I love my truck. It's done well for me, but it's 2 wheels. And in the weather here in Minnesota, it gets a little suspect, so I have to be really careful and pay attention when driving around, especially early morning and in the evenings when it starts to get cold and that sort of thing. I really have to pay attention. Winter EDC pack for my truck. If you live in Minnesota and you don't have one, get one. So here you can see I have everything in the pack. On the outside, I'll put my cleats, so they're easily accessible to me. You will notice that this side pouch doesn't have anything in it, and on the side, the other side pouch is just right to hold the folding shovel. I have all my clothes and everything in here, all the smaller bags that I have in there, like the dry bag and things like that. In front here, I have all the smaller bags that I showed you. They're in the front here. First aid kit is right in the front pouch here, quick access. That's the top here pouch, and in there I have my headlamp and my possibles pouch. This goes in the back seat of my truck, and it'll stay there for the whole of winter. Come summer, if I'm traveling further out of town, typically I'll have a day pack or my camping pack, and in that we'll have everything I need. But there is still this in there, just without some of the extras that I would have in winter. Change of clothes, a shovel just in case, my possibles pouch, things like that will stay in here. It's just not as much as I have right now. So don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. Pretty sure I'll be back with something else. Whatever it is, it's going to have something to do with snowy, cold weather. Lots of white stuff going to be coming in the near future. Maybe an ice fishing trip coming up. Well, hopefully not for a month or so. Not quite ready for that yet. And of course, there's other things I have to do. I have to start prepping around the yard and the South 40 and the cottage and everything, get everything ready. Everything that needs to go into storage for winter has to be prepped. So lots to do. Just saying. Thanks for watching.